Welcome to Everlasting Talk.
Hello, welcome to Everlasting Talk. I'm your host, Ever. Today in Biography, we're talking about John D. Rockefeller. Before we get started, make sure to go to my social media and subscribe and follow me on Instagram, X, Twitch, YouTube, Blogger, Kick. Get your gear on Spring. Everything goes to me getting better equipment and stuff like that. And also on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and more. Let's get started. John D. Rockefeller is a man who became a titan of oil and shaped the course of American history. Born on July 8th, 1839, in Richford, New York, to William and Eliza, grew up in humble beginnings, the second of six children. They moved various times but then settled near Cleveland, Ohio. That's where he lived most of his life. He showed early signs of business knowledge. He was a great student, a great debater, and had a deep love for music. Eventually, he might have gone into music if it wasn't for the love of, you know, business and stuff. Um, he got his first job in 1855 at the age of 16, where he was an assistant bookkeeper and was very good at math, which would help serve him later in life. By 1859, he would start a produce commission business with two partners, almost making nearly $500,000 in business in today's money during the Civil War. As the war progressed, he would use smart tactics to use oil for other things like lubricating oil, petroleum jelly, and more. By 1865, the business produced close to $1 million in today's money. So back then, it must be a lot more. He would co-found the Standard Oil Company in 1870 that would revolutionize the oil industry. But before that, in 1864, he married Laura Celeste Spellman, and they had five children together. Um, Standard Oil Company quickly became a juggernaut, dominating nearly 90% of the oil industry. And by the 1880s, um, that'll be pretty much controlling the entire supply of oil in the world. He was innovative, but led to many antitrust actions. Um, they classified his company as a monopoly, especially owning 90% of the oil in the world, which caused backlash for the Standard Oil Company. And when they would break up in 1911, creating what today's companies, you might know them: ConocoPhillips, Amoco, BP, Chevron, ExxonMobil, and among others. So this guy, you imagine every gas station you go to in the United States, pretty much he owned every gas station or every company. You imagine that? That's how much money he had. Wow. Imagine you like down the street you have a BP and a I'm not sponsoring this company, BP and Shell. If this is before 1911, he would have owned both of them. That's crazy. But let's continue. He eventually sold about 25% of Standard Oil's business stock. I mean, but he still made over $900 million at that time's money. So right now, several billions. But in 1914, there was a major tragedy. Actually, the United Mine Workers went on strike. During a protest, a scuffle ensued, and a camp where a lot of protesters stayed, was burned, resulting in 15 women and children being burned to death. Rockefeller did not deny any wrongdoing, and no one was charged for those 15 deaths. But eventually, I don't know if he did this because he felt bad or he just wanted to help. But he eventually go ahead and start many foundations, such as the Rockefeller Foundation. He also did many endowments to many universities throughout the country. University of Chicago. Um, he started his own university, Rockefeller University, other universities as well. During his time, during his time, a lot of people didn't know, but Rockefeller suffered from depression, and later, I think due to stress or other factors, he got diagnosed with achalasia. So that's pretty much him losing all his hair, like on his head, on his eyebrows, everywhere, and and his hair never grew back. So he would result to like using wigs, you know. toupees, fake mustaches, just to show that he had an appearance of hair. He would die on May 23rd, 1937, of arteriosclerosis. So that's pretty much like clogging of the veins, I think, if I'm right. In his home in Florida, he was buried in Cleveland, Ohio. His life was full of contradictions. A business titan, but whose success, um, transformed industries, but also caused a debate on ethics. His impact was undeniable. Um, like he would go. I recommend reading several books actually. If I was you, there's a lot of books I could recommend you, but here's some of them. It's called Titan: The Life of John D. Rockefeller Sr. by John Chernow. You could check out the documentary "The Men Who Built America." It's on History Channel. There's other books as well. John D. Rockefeller: Anointed by Oil by Grant Segal. It's pretty much a biography of Rockefeller's life. Um, insight on his character and his impact on American business. Also, you could check out The Prize: The Epic Quest for Oil, Money, and Power by Daniel Yergin. It's mostly about his broader context about his family. Also, The History of the Standard Oil Company by Ida M. Tarbell. The Tycoons: How Andrew Carnegie, Johnny Rockefeller, Gold, and J.P. Morgan Invented the American Supereconomy by Charles Morris. And check out a PBS documentary called The Rockefellers. There's so many stuff you could check out. And like a lot of things that people don't know is like I mean, there's a Rockefeller building in New York. I mean, he pretty much changed his family's legacy. I didn't think I mentioned it too much, but his family was kind of broke, because his family were like first generation or they were immigrants. So he changed the course of his family forever. Um, I mean, nowadays, if you look, his family still has wealth. I think some of his great grandkids are now in political office and things like that. So yeah, it's very important. I like I said, it's your opinion about him. you know you could see him as being this person who was a monopolist, and he decided to take over. He made a lot of money, obviously, but also he made all that money he got, he used it, most of it, for good, and he left his family with a bunch of money, so that helped a lot. Yeah, this one's a little bit shorter, but yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. On the next one, we're going to talk about the former dictator Muammar Gaddafi. So thank you guys so much. Make sure to go to my social media. Go on my link tree. It's on the link below. That's where you can find all my links for Instagram, X, Twitch, YouTube, um, Spotify, Blogger, Kick. Also check out Spring. Get your shirts, show your support. I love that. And thank you guys so much. And I'll see you at the next one. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Everlasting Talk. For more content, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Everlasting Talk. Thank you.